Hello, I'm Bearkat Staff Writer and Cadet Technical Sergeant Sakra. Last week, Klein's very own Air Force ROTC hosted a conversion ceremony in the auditorium. 1 out of 10 schools were selected to be Space Force ROTC.
So, how would you describe the general mood or the atmosphere of the conversion ceremony?
So the conversion ceremony yesterday, we went from being an Air Force JROTC branch to becoming a Space Force JROTC branch, and it is such a huge and honorable transition, and we are the only one in Texas to have this program, and we're so grateful for it. So it was a little overwhelming, but everyone was more so excited than anything, and our cadets were super enthusiastic to embrace this change and move forward and realize how much awesomeness is waiting for us ahead.
Why did that happen?
So we were selected to become the only Space Force JROTC unit in Texas because we were close to space facilities, because as you know, we're all in Houston, so we are near NASA, and that's a big part of our culture here. And alongside that, we are top performers, so we have a record of excellence, we have a record of innovation, and our cadets have truly made our program a world-renowned name now, and as we know, across our nation. So it's just a really good feeling to have all that under our belt.
During the ceremony, you guys said activated 12 of May.
So essentially what had happened was last year, the academic year 2020 to 2021, we had applied in the second semester to see if we could qualify to become a Space Force unit. So in that process, after a couple months, in April-May came the announcement that we had achieved this recognition and this amazing honor. And so that is the reason that on May 12th of 2021, we were officially named that we would be a Space Force unit. However, we had planned to have a ribbon cutting ceremony or Space Force conversion ceremony as we previously had this Tuesday, and that is what we did in this week. So that's why it was activated as a unit previously, but now we are officially transitioned as a unit.
Is there anything that isn't really known about the whole Space Force thing that's been going on?
It sounds a little corny to a lot of people at first, you know, that we're now labeled guardians, so to say, or instead of airmen from the Air Force, we're now guardians from the Space Force, or anything like that. You know, people refer to us as space cadets, so to say, and it does sound a little corny at first, but it's a very big honor, and a lot of people don't realize that JROTC isn't a military commitment. It's simply a military-based program. And so because of that, people might avoid coming into it, or they may only come into the program thinking, oh, I just need this PE credit. But the program itself is very, it makes you a very versatile person, and it's set up for a very well-rounded, to make cadets a very well-rounded individual on their own. So that's just something that a lot of people don't recognize or realize that happens in our own campus at Klein High. Right now, one of the changes that I can highlight is the fact that our main core values that we like to pride ourselves that we abide by have changed from, in the Air Force, they were integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. But now, becoming part of the Space Force, we have new core values of character, commitment, courage, and connection. And so those 4 words can be interpreted differently to many, but that is the focus and principles that we have highlighted. However, the biggest change I would say that you can see is in the curriculum. So Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, Air Force JROTC, is very aerospace based. So you'll study aerospace science, the science of flight, a lot of things like that. And now as we transition into becoming part of Space Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, it will be a new direction. So we'll sort of channel the curriculum that our instructors will teach us to the dynamics above us that are in space and all of those things. So it's very exciting, it's a big change, and it'll be very interesting to delve into how exactly that impacts us in our day-to-day lives, since you usually don't think that stuff in space is stuff that you would use in your day-to-day life, but in reality, in the morning, the GPS you use is something that comes from a satellite in space. So it's just really interesting to learn about all of that. As a cadet, as I mentioned in my speech, I'm so grateful for everyone who made this possible, and I'm so proud of all of our cadets and the distinguished achievements that we've made in the previous years. And I can't wait to see what the current freshmen will do and make of our program as they become upperclassmen and AS400s and whatnot. Since we have so much faith in them, and they have so much wonderful potential, and so I'm so excited to see how successful they'll be and how honorable our program will become with the name that they'll make. So yeah.
How was the ceremony for the Air Force to the Space Force?
Well, the ceremony was awesome. We had a lot of representation there, from the news to the Board of Trustees to the superintendent to our special guest, which was a 3-star general from the Space Force, an Air Force colonel, an Air Force lieutenant colonel, and an Air Force chief master sergeant that came out just to do our ceremony here at the high school. Our cadets performed really well in all the parts of the ceremony, so it went really nice. The Klein High School choir performed the national anthem for us, which was really special. And so really it turned out really nice. We had a large audience of parents, teachers, faculty, like I said, the Board of Trustees, people from the district, and all over to come see it. So it was really awesome. So the students receiving the change from Air Force to Space Force has been kind of in phases. At first it was a little bit scary or anxiety about what it's new, because change always brings a little bit of that anxiousness as far as what's really going to happen and that kind of thing. But once we started approaching the ceremony and they saw how special it was to do the changeover and how special other people thought it was from the district, from the community, from the news and all that, they've really latched on to the idea that this is a really good thing, and it's going to be positive for our Corps, positive for our school, positive for our district, and even the community to have one of the only Space Force JROTC units around.
What's the change that the uniforms are having right now?
So at the moment, the Space Force still wears the Air Force uniform, but they only have one special insignia, and there's lapel pins on the blue service coat. There's a pin that goes on the lapel that represents that you're Space Force and not Air Force. And so right at the moment, that's the only change that'll happen overall. But we are going to change our patches to have a new name. Instead of AFJROTC, we'll have SFJROTC on all of our patches so that people can see that we're Space Force as well. So while our uniforms look the same, if you read our patches, you'll know that we're different. I think what a lot of people don't understand that maybe I'll put out there is that Space Force is still in the Department of the Air Force. So while we do change, there is still a lot that stays the same. It's kind of like the Marine Corps relationship with the Navy. So we will still keep a lot of our loyalties in the Department of the Air Force, and will be associated with the Air Force in a lot of ways. So it's a change that is really significant, but it's not going to be as separated from the Air Force as some people may think. We'll stay connected to the Air Force, but then still implement our changes and upgrade to all the Space Force differences.